Welcome to DC Domingo number 53. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a brief review of 2019, my favorite moments from DC Comics, DC movies, and DC TV. And then the other part is going to be a hype video for 2020. And for my hype of 2020, we are going to include a very brief review of Birds of Prey, which I will include a link to my blog where a much more detailed methodology and review for that, because I want to enjoy my weekend watching this film. Anyways, enjoy. Alright, so we started 2019 with a really cool movie called Shazam. Now, as many of you know about this film, it was in development at New Line Cinema for close to a decade, and it was not attached to the DC Cinematic Universe. Luckily for us, we got some really good budgeting, and thanks to producer of Peter Safran of Aquaman fame, along with The Rock Dwayne Johnson, they decided to, split this project from a Black Adam and Billy Batson project to simply Billy Batson. The movie was pretty freaking awesome. A little bit short for my taste, and I kind of wish there was more budget, but I understand that they wanted to save those big epic action sequences for the sequel against, I don't know, maybe Black Adam. But it ended up being a really cute movie. It's about kids growing up, finding family, finding yourself, and, letting others come into your life. To me, the character of Billy Batson was really well played. But Freddie Freeman is my favorite because he represents the DC base. He's always wearing DC shirts and he's a hype man for DC. It's a wonderful film, greatly appreciated by the masses. And, I'm getting tired of people saying it's a step in the right direction, because this film was actually scary and sometimes shot beautifully dark, but it also had levity, which all the DC films have had. So, make yourself like a nice little popcorn, enjoy it. And to me, this represents the end of the first 7 films from DC. Joker representing, the new phase of the new DC, or volumes, as I want to call them, or omnibus, maybe, for the connoisseurs of comics. Anyways, so Shazam. Jeff Johns is out, and Jim Lee has been promoted to CCO of DC Entertainment. I don't want to get into conspiracy theories as to what happened. But if you can, kind of go online, you kind of get the sentiment that someone leaked a lot of information to Marvel. And unfortunately, the ties between Kevin Feige and Jeff Johns were kind of strong, so people assumed that he might have been leaking information. Make that as you want. The fact that the Justice League film that we got in the cinema didn't perform as well in the box office kind of says that fans were not fans of this change. So, what happened? He is going to go and produce his own thing for DC Entertainment Online, the app, and other projects, one of them being Stargirl. Now, I want to keep it positive and fucking finally get Jim Lee in a much better role. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but this is a kind of a big deal. I mentioned in several, podcasts ago how Warner Brothers and DC just loves diversity. The previous CEO of Warner Brothers was Kevin Tetsuhara. He just happened to be Japanese American. It wasn't tokenism. He actually did a good job with like the VHS marketing and that kind of stuff in the 90s. Unfortunately, he abused his power. It was, consensual, but it was abuse of power nonetheless. So, and Sarnoff had to come in to replace him. Also, Francis Manipul was, another great Asian American, and so is Jim Lee. But all these three people didn't get in there for tokenism. It was just like they're just talented, and this company embraced them at all levels. Now we get to see somebody who's actually been putting a lot of grind to get where he's at. I don't know if you noticed, but this wonderful picture here at the Birds of Prey premiere kind of gave me some nice sentiment, because I know that a lot of people don't like Dan Didio. I have no idea. They pretty much put everything that they don't like about DC on his shoulders. But he has given us a lot of cool shit. Same thing with Grant Morrison. That man is a freaking legend. And it also coincided with Ezra Miller writing a script with him, with with like a darker version of, the Flash with Grant Morrison. So I presume that one of the reasons why Flash went ahead, the Flash movie with Ezra Miller collaborating with Grant Morrison, was greenlit, and a horror director, Andy Muschietti, from It and It 2 was chosen to direct it, is partly because Jim Lee. Jim Lee's really good friends with Grant Morrison, so he saw the potential, and also, he saw the amazing talent of Andy Muschietti. So it makes sense. Not to mention that I think it might have been Jim Lee who got a cameo of Ezra Miller in the CW crossover. I'm kind of sensing it. But yeah, it's a welcome embrace, and I'm pretty damn sure that he's gonna deliver the Snyder Cut, because he's actually a good person, and I couldn't be happier. He's like, imagine if another company had placed like Todd McFarlane or Jim Lee, or Stan Lee for that matter, that position of power. Jim Lee actually got to be where he's at by sheer talent. So Watchmen on HBO, the series, the limited series. Why haven't I done any hype or review on this show? It's not something that I care, really. I will have a link in the description of this video to my blog where you can kind of read my reasoning behind it. All that I'll say is that I am glad that, DC property got the exposure it got. It's good for the media. I know the Directors Guild award gave it an award for Outstanding Directorial Achievement and Dramatic Series. Nicole Casel, she got an award for that. But it's not for me. For instance, if you want the main three reasons, it's not an ensemble like the first Watchmen, or even before Watchmen, or Doomsday Clock. Number two, the thread of whatever they were going for, it's not really present. In an era where global climate change is the fucking threatening thing, there was a missed potential, like in the Cold War, having Watchmen touch upon that felt real. Right now with the climate change and stuff, what the HBO Watchmen show to do, it's kind of childish, and it's not as striking as the real fucking problems that we have. It's like we have a real Lex Luthor in the fucking White House, and you go with this. It's like, come on, man. And three, I think the budget and how fast the production was, it kind of seemed like they wrote themselves into a corner and they just kept on going. And some of the budget wasn't quite there. Some of the special effects ended up being ridiculous in the later episodes. The first episode was brilliant. It was great. It seemed like they spent half their budget on that one episode. But yeah, again, now the coolest thing that I liked is that a couple of people went online to defend the HBO Watchmen not making or throwing shade at Zack Snyder Watchmen movie. So, that's pretty cool, My hat's off to Lindelof for that. Yeah. So, anyways, if you're interested in my take on Watchmen, check out one of the links below. Oh man, I remember having a laugh at the expense of this moron on Facebook who said DC Universe app was going to fail because it didn't have enough content to compete with Netflix. Cut to more than a year later, DC Universe has been great. However, now a giant fucking behemoth has been unleashed called HBO Max. And why did it take so long? Well, our current Lex Luthor president was holding up the AT&T merger with Warner Brothers. So for a few years, Warner Brothers was like, fuck, we have no money. Yeah, if you can believe it. That's why films like Shazam and Birds of Prey had to go small. Also, Joker was a small film. The last big budget one that we saw was Aquaman. And I think that's because, the producers kind of bet their homes on it. And it paid off wonderfully. So HBO Max will definitely deliver on everything that has been promising. The interesting thing is that it has way more shit than I thought it was going to have. I thought it was going to be like Looney Tunes and Friends and Big Bang Theory and then reruns of The Sopranos. But no, it's got everything that HBO has. That's a big deal. And for a little bit more money, we're going to get not only, surprisingly to me, Criterion Collection movies, Studio Ghibli movies. We're going to get new content, a brand new Green Lantern series that was teased at the CW finale of Arrow. Yes, with John Diggle. It's fucking great, right? All of us were like, come on, make him Green Lantern. And they finally did it. Oh, fucking awesome. So I am hyped because that was announced. And what we've been hearing, it's been great. There's also a new Michael Mann series. It's like Miami Vice, but set in Tokyo. How fucking cool is that's gonna be, man? Dude, they keep announcing all this cool shit that I'm just insanely in love. I think Robert Zemeckis is doing a Looney Tunes live action TV show too. Fuck, that is gonna be awesome. So keep up the hype for that. Alright, I definitely teased a review of Heroes in Crisis for quite a bit. I am not someone who buys comics anymore. I buy comics digitally now that my favorite comic book store has closed. I also purchase graphic novels in book format just to save me space. I believe the last single issue comic book series that I have purchased has been Doomsday Clock, and I have been collecting the special editions of that just because it's the original Watchmen has an endearing attachment to me. But when I heard that Tom King was going to write this, and then they had that amazing Comic-Con reveal with the golden masks and the robes, your mind wandered and was like, what the fuck are they going to do? I thought it was just gonna be like a weekly or bi-monthly series or whatever, or like twice a month series where they had different creators do like a confessional style on all the superheroes. That's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like an ongoing thing where, you know, if like you have like Teen Titans, like if you're doing a run and you want to explore just a single character arc, you can go there. But that's not what this was. So for the first few issues in this compilation, I was thrown off and I was like, this is not what I fucking imagined. And when I was about to throw in the towel, the reveal happened of what happened. And I was like, oh fuck, it makes sense. You know, the fact that this part was spoiled to me online, by the way, but it was done so in a really shitty manner by some troll in a random like DC comment. It was probably like a DC hater or like a Tom King hater, but it didn't stuck in my head for so long. That's how minimal trolls affect me. They kind of ruin things, but things with substance is about the whole journey. And same thing here. Spoiler alert. What they were talking about was turning Wally West into a killer. That's what the troll was saying. It's like, oh, you ruined Wally West. You turned something really good into a criminal. Fuck you. Actually, that's not what happened. When you are doing confessional, get therapy and stuff like that, it brings up a lot of emotions and a lot of things. You get flashbacks of what you did, what you're missing. It kind of revives all your ghosts, and it haunts you again. You know, it's like if you've been in a car crash and somebody asks you to retell that story again, you're gonna get like emotional talking about it. You know, I was nearly killed in a drowning incident, and I don't like to talk about it for the same fucking reason, right? Well, this is what triggered Wally West losing control for like a millionth of a second. And that to me was never explored in all the other Flash characters, where they're always in control. And if you lose control for like the minimal amount of space and time because of the the powers Flash has, you know, with the fast abilities that they have, they can cause so much fucking damage in a few seconds. So, and that's what happened here. You know, you see Wally West just losing control and boom, he kills a few people. And what they were able to do kind of reminded me of Identity Crisis by Brett Meltzer. Not as dark and disturbing, but more like playing with the time and space continuum, where you have time travel, but not in the way Flashpoint did it. It's very clever and it's really good. It was totally worth it. I might actually pick up the side stories that was just released. And if I had to give it a score, it's not like something that I would say like an instant classic, but it's definitely like a great point to be made. Like, I don't know, 8.5 or B+. That's fucking great. Oh my god, and the artwork. Fuck. The artwork is fucking amazing. Me as an artist, it kind of like, I got jelly because I was like, fuck, this artwork's amazing. Anyways, yeah, you should definitely buy this. Alrighty, so Doomsday Clock. It's a review in progress. I'm halfway through it. I didn't read any reviews on it. I didn't read any spoilers in it. And there is something that's happening. I am seeing a lot of stolen material from the HBO series that originated here in the Doomsday Clock. And this brings me to a sad bummer that I'm going to have to postpone my Doomsday Clock review. Like, okay, by the way, I'm fucking loving it, all right? And I don't read what everybody else says. I'm not going to read what the usual suspects say or anything like that. I'm just going to finish it. But I have promised myself that I would do this a long time, and I am going to do it. I'm going to review the Watchmen comic, the Before Watchmen, the Doomsday Clock, and HBO Watchmen all together in one epic podcast, because we fucking need it. Like, I was reading some of the stuff from Doomsday Clock, and I'm like, dude, somebody basically read this and I was like, I can write this for television. And they stole a lot of shit. You know, there's a character called Through the Looking Glass from DC Comics. There is a protagonist who is of African-American descent also. That idea was stolen. And there's a lot of fucking similarities that I'm kind of going, yeah, there was an issue. Like, I always said that the HBO Watchmen felt a little rushed. And now I know why. I think some of the writers might have seen Doomsday Clock and just fucking ripped it off and picked up the best pieces and just ran with it. So I'm going to do an exploration of that. So, yeah. And, fuck me if you hated Doomsday Clock, because I'm loving it so far. I'm 6 issues in. And it's the last series of comics that I'm buying physically. Single issue. I'm buying digital from now on. And yeah, stay tuned. All right. Oh man, the CW crossover. It's so weird that this turned out to be actually fucking enjoyable. Because, well, everybody has, like, high expectations, and they always dream about, like, well, why can you put this here, this here, this here, and to deliver on so many fucking levels and so many decades, holy fuck. Alright, so this is gonna have a lot of spoilers, right? But I'm gonna try to do my best, because there's a lot of fucking cool shit, and I didn't take notes because my jaw was on the floor, and I just fucking enjoyed it, okay? I am gonna show you some, clips and stuff, but it's not clips, but like pictures of it to kind of wrap your head around like all the shit that had to go through. All right, to start off with, like, 1960s Robin from, Burt Ward. That is fucking insane. And then we cut to, like, 1989 Batman, and you have Alexander Knox, the reporter, going, oh shit, the skies are turning red. You kind of go, oh fuck. I wasn't expecting that. And the very first episode kind of gets really fucked up pretty fucking quickly, because, like, big spoiler alert, Arrow dies in the first episode, and you're like, what? What the fuck? I mean, even Kevin Smith and the creative crew behind the CW had, like, a little special show after the first episode, and you're like, whoa, I was not expecting that kind of death, So yeah, that was kind of, like, shocking. But then it started to get off really fucking epic and amazing. I was not expecting the Smallville cameo. I was like, what? I heard about it. I didn't know what extent that cameo was going to be. I wasn't expecting it the way it was. I was expecting it more like... I wasn't expecting the conclusion of the series and, like, an update to it, because season 11 in the comic book had a lot of stuff going for it, and this seemed like the logical conclusion to Smallville if you read, season 11 in the comics. So I wasn't expecting them to carry over, Clark just being Clark, no longer Superman. I thought that was pretty cool. I also like the fact that Tom Welling got to own this version of Lex Luthor, and Tom Welling looked fucking beefy. That was great. The other super memorable moment, of course, it has to be Brandon Routh's Kingdom Come Superman. I was really blown away by his ability to shift back into that role and to give that character a little bit of closure. Even giving himself the nod to Superman 3 where he says, it's not the first time I fought myself. I thought that was pretty fucking awesome. So, if you can wrap your head around that, that is the Christopher Reeves Superman in Brandon Routh's Superman Returns. So this has been confirmed. It is canon. It is awesome. And the Christopher Reeves Superman is now in the crossover. How fucking cool is that? Well, Marvel's been doing a crossover for the past decade. This crossover on television, mind you, managed to outdo them by decades and by the variety. And what do I mean by variety? Okay, if you grew up in the 90s, the Flash TV show was the coolest shit ever. It had some really cool Danny Elfman intro, back when Danny Elfman was doing great shit. And dude, it had Mark Hamill as the Trickster. How fucking cool is that? By the way, if you haven't seen the Flash series, check it out. You can check it out on the CW Seed app or DC Universe, or buy it on iTunes or buy it on Vudu. You will not regret it. It's definitely a throwback nostalgia. But that character was a little bit better than what most people remember. In the 90s, the special effects were done really awesome. And this was before the adventures of Lewis and Clark. The romantic one. So seeing this character from the 90s sacrifice himself was pretty powerful. If you can kind of see it. You don't see it because you don't expect that character. In the previous episodes of The Flash, it was like, oh, the Flash is going to die, but we weren't expecting the 90s Flash to die, so that was really impactful. So that kind of got me. The other thing that got a lot of people was Kevin Conroy as a very, very broken down Kingdom Come Batman. And a lot of people's hypocrisy was shown online because here we have the most beloved voice actor for Batman quoting verbatim Batfleck from BBS, something that many people didn't like, right? And here we have Kevin Conroy admitting to killing. And 90s babies had a tantrum online. They're like, no, this is not my Batman. I was like, well, it's a version of your Batman. But having Batwoman confront that Batman was fucking great. And the fact that Katie Kane, stood up to Supergirl the way fucking Batman stood up to Superman in BBS. I walked away from this crossover with a much more respect for Batwoman. And I'm hoping that the Arrow crew does more of the fights from Batwoman, because the Arrow crew is fucking amazing. If you saw the last episode of Arrow with the one shot they did, whoa, just fucking whoa. Anyways, I am derailing from the conversation. What is the other coolest thing that you liked? This is out of this world, but seeing Ezra Miller Flash in the CW crossover, holy fuck. How do they pull it off? And how did this not get leaked, And again, I have to give credit to Jim Lee. This would have not happened with the old regime. And Ann Sarnoff, too. Big credits to Ann. This would have not happened with the old, studio executives. Because Warner Brothers asked Guggenheim to put the Flash there. That's fucking great. And it kind of ties in all the multiverse together. I'm not gonna dig the old podcast where I fucking predicted this would happen, but it's there. And I'm glad. The interesting thing that I noticed was I told Victor this would work. I don't know if Ezra Miller's talking about a scene in the Snyder Cut or a future scene, pun, that we will see in the Flash movie with Cyborg being a cameo in there too. So, this is exciting. Either way, nobody expected this, and this broke the internet in ways nobody had predicted. The amazing thing about the crossover is that it made everybody really hyped for all things television, for all things movies, and for the comics. I don't know if you've seen my wall, but I love the Crisis, and it's a great time to be a DC fan. That's all I'm fucking saying. Feeling very proud of the Snyder Cut movement in 2018. Not only do we manage to raise thousands of dollars on our own through the Snyder Cut movement, we had a wonderful campaign to put up posters. They even had a campaign for one of the soccer matches in Europe. There was even a small blurb in Times Square, and there was even an airplane flown over not only San Diego Comic-Con, but also the offices of Warner Brothers when the new boss Ann Sarnoff took over. There was also a wonderful gift basket and letter writing venture that the Snyder Cut people decided to do, and it's been great. One of the rewards is that Zack Snyder launched his t-shirt to raise money for suicide prevention, and he came back with this amazing hoodie with all the wonderful logos that kind of actually match my Justice League jacket, if you can see it here. And that raised about more than $30,000 for suicide prevention, so it is really wonderful. This Zack Snyder Cut people and the fans and Zack Snyder himself have been really positive. Zack Snyder also had a wonderful contest. It was a poster contest hosted by the official Vero account, also available on Twitter. And yeah, this is my submission. I was watching a lot of other posters and submissions that came in, and they all had, the superheroes there. It's like, okay, I get it. So what else can I do? So I basically just said, you know what? This is what I would do. And came up with this, and yeah, I'm quite proud of it. So hopefully I win the contest. If not, this is going to be my my cell phone wallpaper. Pretty exciting, huh? And hopefully we get to see his finished version of the Snyder Cut. And maybe if it's in theaters, I will definitely wear my hoodie because my wonderful girlfriend bought me one for Christmas. So yes. Oh, right. And yeah, the Joker. What can we say that we haven't said already? Well, quite a bit actually. Below in the description below, there is a link to the previous episode in which I review the Joker. It's very lengthy, it's very thorough, and anybody that says it's like some kind of, white male incel, whatever crap, I destroy that notion very thoroughly. I mean, you can have your, talking points, but if you don't want to back it up, I back it up. So go there. There is also this wonderful article about brown people all over the world and why the Joker masks are the perfect political protest symbol. I know. It's written by a woman. Lori, go ahead and give it a go. It's from Wired magazine. But and not to mention that I'm also doing commentary in all the DC movies. I did one for Aquaman and Shazam. I uploaded that by the time you hear this, and I'm also updating one for the Joker before the Oscars, because that's how I roll. I don't want to be a bandwagon fan. Never was, never will. You know, there's definitely a lot of these clickbait people who kind of went back on the Joker, but Joker's been kicking ass ever since. You know, the Golden Lions. What else? It becomes the first R-rated movie to cross $1 billion. Boom. Winner, Society of Camera Operators Award. Haha. What do we have here? Critics' Choice Award. There we go. Screen Actors Guild Award. Boom. What else? Society of Composer and Lyricists for the score for Hildur. She got one too. Boom. Golden Glove. Hildur. She got one too. Joaquin. Golden Glove. Got one. BAFTA. Boom. Hildur. She got one. BAFTA. Joaquin. He got one. AFI. Honorary. And 11 Oscar nominations. What more can you say about the Joker, really? Regarding the Oscars, there was I don't know, I kind of feel lukewarm about him. Everybody kind of saw that one of the famous YouTubers kind of go ape shit because Parasite won, and he just kind of used it as clickbait to be the angry white man, you know, saying xenophobic shit. For me, it was kind of like the safe bet that Hollywood chose. I don't think it was like necessarily that the movie was bad. This is my top 10 list. I have The Irishman, Joker, and The Lighthouse as my top 3. Parasite is up there, number 4. You know, why do I think the Academy gave it to him? I think it's because if you give the Oscar to The Irishman, you are basically saying, oh, Netflix, you are welcome to our little club. Thank you so very fucking much. And they snubbed a really great film last year, a foreign film called Roma by my compadre, you know, Cuarón. So yeah, it's not like, wow, you know, Parasite is this great movie that made the Academy change its mind about foreigners. Like, honestly, we have the countries of Italy and France who got tired of waiting for the fucking Oscar, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna give ourselves some fucking awards, because we've been making really good shit forever. And, you know, for all the trendy people who like everything Korean, they should also know that there's amazing films from not only Japan, but also from China and Russia, you know, so, yeah. And, you know, I'm sorry to say it, fucking, there are some great gems from Bollywood. You just have to know where to look. Yeah, because people think, like, oh, Bollywood is fucking cheap, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nah, dude, there's some really good stories there. You just have to, like, you know, actually look at movies from other countries. So I noticed a lot of weird shit. You know, for instance, there is a new Lin-Manuel Miranda movie, and the protagonist, who is also in Hamilton, the musical, he was out there at the Oscars introducing something. And, you know, like, he kind of like, hi, I'm so-and-so. And then there was no applause, no clapping. And I'm like, wow, dude, that's fucked up. They really don't like us Latinos right fucking now. Because we're the help, you know? So, I get it. Parasite is about, like, class warfare. But if Parasite was made here in the States, like, the rich fucking people is the Academy. The help is us Mexicans and Latinos. We're the fucking help that these motherfuckers, you know, ignore us. If you were to remake Parasite right now in the States, it would be a bunch of brown people killing a bunch of white people. And the Academy is not fucking comfortable with that shit. You know, that's why they painted Joker as white rage, but not Little Women as white power, because it's empowering white people, right? But no, there's a double standards, with their labels and such. So yeah, Parasite is a safe bet, I'm still pretty fucking pissed off that the Lighthouse was not nominated enough. It's like, oh, fuck off, But yeah, I was pretty fucking happy to see, Joaquin and Hildur. She's great doing the score. And, I think The Irishman deserve more love, and also The Lighthouse. But it is what it is. I was kind of pissed off that Wes Studi did not get a standing ovation. It's like, what's his fucking face? Tawiki, he's fucking like standing up there and he's like, oh yeah, shout out to the natives. And I'm like, there is one right there in front of you, bro. How come you didn't ask for like a standing ovation for Wes Studi? Or better yet, why does a native have to make a World War II Holocaust movie about white people? Why can't we be given like scripts to showcase our Holocausts? Every fucking ever. Like New Zealand, hello? That's why I'm plugging in Once We Were Warriors. It's a fucking great movie. Go see that instead of Jojo Rabbit. If you really respect natives and indigenous people, go fucking see that instead. What about, LA's full of Mexicans? What about the indigenous struggle against Cortez? Why don't you make a fucking movie about that, Hollywood? You gotta let fucking, Mel Gibson do Apocalypto and that's fucking it? Come on, man. It's fucking bullshit. Also, David Lynch got an honorary award. Nobody fucking stood up. Like, what the fuck? He's one of your best fucking directors, and you don't honor him like that. Kirk Douglas fucking just died. And he was just like, whoop. Just like a brushed off with all the in memoriam stuff. And I'm like, dude, he fought for everybody to get rid of the fucking communist blacklist. Didn't you see fucking Trumbo? You made a fucking movie about that like a few fucking years ago, and you all of a sudden, oh, well, he's not a hipster cat anymore. He's not one of us. Fuck off. Like, I have my grievances with the Academy. I think they're just kind of like, they just are afraid of the backlash. They're more important to them. It's not so much as who is the best and what should we give it to, but it's more like, what can we compromise so that people on Twitter don't fucking hate us? And it's kind of sad, because if you're going to turn like the Academy Award into like all the other cheap ass fucking shows where you just give it to the most popular one but not who has merit, then you're no better than Trump giving the fucking medal to Rush Limbaugh. Alright, what am I looking forward to in 2020 besides the election of a new president? Well, okay. Birds of Prey. I have seen the film twice now, and it took me a while to get the review out, but I think you kind of have to look at it from, like a non-biased perspective. It's not so much like, I don't know, what do I want to see in a movie? What did I expect in a movie? It's more like, okay, what the fuck is a movie about, right? And just like with Suicide Squad, it kind of had to like see it a couple times to be like, okay, I understand what they're going for versus my expectations. And this one, I didn't have many expectations at all. I wasn't like positive or negative. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go in. So again, I used my method of 10-point scale. Each point has like a quarter point system as well. And I ended up with the following. So for instance, directing, 1 out of 1. Kathy Yang did an amazing job here balancing the few action set pieces with the past flashbacks, exposition scenes, and the now narrative. Sincerity, I honestly think it's 1 out of 1. I mean, Margot Robbie put her production money there. She got the right script lady. She got the right director lady. She got the right women cast. She managed to get herself nominated for an Oscar for Bombshell. She can't do it all. So I think this was as a sincere movie that she wanted to make. Story, 0.75 out of 1. Simply because there's like I think it needed some more world building. The one of the things that I do have to speak about is that there's this bullshit argument that the story is bait woke or forced feminism because the women are beating up dudes. Like 80 years of Batman beating the shit out of male criminals never caused such a problem, right? So idiots who are negating the fact that Gotham City is full of evil dudes, it's a fucking false narrative by haters who don't want women kicking ass and want to rewrite the evidence of 80 plus years of comics. I mean, fuck that. Again, so script, 0.75 out of 1. Like I said, I just need a little bit of world building expansion. The script was pretty solid with good characterization, memorable dialogue, solid iconic scenes, and a vibe of its own. It is the shortest DC film to date, and I think we could have used like 2 or 3 scenes that kind of explain where the Gotham criminal underworld is besides Black Mask, or if there's any Harvey Bullock, officers, what happened to Commissioner Gordon, or maybe give us a map of like the West End, or like the whatever kind of like differentiation of Gotham City is. I think we needed like a little bit more world building. Maybe we'll get it on the extended cut. Soundtrack, come on. They managed to pull off another Suicide Squad size soundtrack with many great songs. I mean, come fucking on. The fact that we have Journey Smollett Bell singing as Dinah Lance, this is a man's world. Fuck. It's such a great song. I find myself like, singing it with Spotify whenever I go to work. Sound, again, 1 out of 1. The attention to detail in sound sells a good movie, and I'm always going to go out of my way to give credit to this difficult task that is often goes unnoticed by the cheap, popcorn crowd who just wants explosions and one-liner full of fucking jokes. Acting, of course, 1 out of 1. I see an actual characterization, not some cheap actor or actress hamming it up or phoning in a performance just to win a Kids' Choice Award. Cinematography, I'm going to say 0.75 out of 1. Because often in these movies we need iconic shots, and sometimes we don't get that many here because of the spontaneity in which it was filmed. One of my favorite shots, however, is Harley Quinn and Cassandra Cain walking away towards the big city. There's a big, beautiful purple road from the neon lights. That kind of shit matters. Impact, 0.75 out of 1. It has been the foreigners who have picked up the box office slack. The film was hated by, the usual suspects, Marvel fanboys here in the good old USA, because certain YouTubers said it was forced feminism or tokenism woke, and like sheep who don't think for themselves. Many of those idiots nitpick the shit out of this film because it's easier to follow the master clickbaiters than to have the balls to think on your own. Impression. For me, 1 out of 1. I fucking love this movie. Yeah, and I am pretty satisfied with it. I am gonna buy like the Steelbook, and I can't fucking wait to see it again. One thing though, I always like to bring the contrast between DC and Marvel because like we have it stacked against us. As a minority, I fucking can relate. So when a woman movie like this has everything stacked against it, I'm gonna fucking support it because similarly, we in DC world have the same fucking uphill battle, Like, if our film, DC film, gets 11 Oscar nominations, it'll never be enough to appease the haters who will feel satisfied with the 11 Kids' Choice Awards. So, what do I give this movie? 8.5 out of 10. It's fucking great. We have Superman Red Son animated. If you haven't read that story, it's probably the only Mark Miller story that I feel any attachment to it. If you want to know why, go ahead and read Super Gods by Grant Morrison. He will enlighten you on this individual. But needless to say, it's about a story where Superman lands in communist Russia, and he's still Superman. It's pretty cool. I kind of wish that Henry Cavill would have voiced this, given this is one of his very favorite stories in comic book format. Number 3, an Untitled Batman video game. Currently, we have been getting a lot of these weird messages from the developer of a new Batman game. The latest that we've heard is that it's a reboot, and we are going to get a brand new story arc. It shouldn't be a surprise. We had a brand new take on Batman with Telltale Batman, which I downloaded for free because I have Xbox games with gold, I think. I haven't played it, but again, it's good to have new Batman video games. People will still be attached to the Arkham series. They need to fucking move on. Let's see. Number 4, Zack Snyder Cut in whatever shape, way, or form. Look, I am going to be, hopefully, buying more statues. I need to finish my Zack Snyder collection, and I want to have a good movie to go with it. That, to me, it can be in theatrical form, it can be in HBO Max, it can be a deluxe DVD case. Warner Brothers, if you want to charge me $50 for a deluxe DVD, go for it. I don't care. You want to charge me $100? Fine. Just get us the Snyder Cut. I'm pretty sure a handful of us would pay $100 to see that movie. It's pretty much like an IMAX ticket, right? With parking and food. Come on. Deliver us the goods. 5. HBO Max exclusive, The Green Lantern. Again, if you haven't seen the last episode of Arrow, you would have missed John Diggle being chosen as a Green Lantern. Oh, it's looking pretty fucking good. Also, in the closing of the crossover, you get to see a hint of the Green Arrow corpse. Green Arrow. Haha, the Green Lantern corpse. Sorry. Yeah, it's going to look pretty fucking awesome. It really surprised everybody when they announced HBO Max, but now that we know that John Diggle is going to be there, let's round up all the Green Lanterns. Let's get Simon Bass there, Jessica Cruz, Kyle, even, the other unknown ones that nobody cares. Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner. Sure, why not? Get him there. Number 6, Comic-Con 2020. It would be great to have some updated slate projects. Maybe they can announce a brand new CW show that is taking the Arrow time slot. That'd be pretty fucking awesome. They can also... I know that Matt Reeves promised that he was going to be showcasing something for Brazil in November. You know, that big event where Birds of Prey was received with massive success. They kind of basically ignore the U.S. media and they went straight to Brazil. Brazil, big shout out to you. You represent DC big time. We love you. So we would like to see some slate projects from DC and Comic-Con. Let's fucking do it. Now, number 7, Justice League Dark, The Apokolips War. If you have not read Apokolips War, you should definitely check it out. But to put the Justice League Dark there, I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. I'm fucking intrigued. Color me intrigued. I am just geeking over all the amazing Justice League animated stuff, and even just non-Justice League. They're great, so bring it on. Number 8, Grant Morrison's Green Lantern Season 2. Oh, man. If you have not read it, I'm going to do a review, so get you all hyped. So, I'm going to promise you this. I'm going to do the review for Grant Morrison's Green Lantern run to get you hyped for the Season 2. Fuck yeah. And another project with Tom King, Adam Strange. It's going to be debuting in March, I believe. It's looking pretty fucking cool. I'm not going to lie. So I'm looking forward to it. And of course, 10, but not least, Wonder Woman 84. They're going for the vibes. They're going for the 1980s vibes. And look, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a scene where the bad guy has a golden crystal. And on television, he's talking about your desires and what you need. Why do I get the sense that this reality is going to be Hades? This reality is going to be all in Diana's mind in Hades. It's a revenge for killing Ares in the last one. I don't know how, but I don't think that Diana is actually witnessing real events. I think it might be all like an illusion. She's trapped in hell. It could be a nice, twist. That way, like, it would make sense that, she would go out of her way to act in the world of man and still, like, step away from the limelight. Or it could be that this is the real world, but darker forces are at bay. Come on. The nuclear annihilation, who would benefit if not the god of war, Hades? So, since god of war, Ares is gone, Hades will be the main bad guy. I'm not going to bet any money, but hell yeah, let's do it. Do it. Anyways, it's been a lengthy episode. I'm glad we're back. And DLC at DC, I'll be back probably in a couple of weeks.